Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
I've said this before. I am a hypnotherapy cheerleader. Like I walk around telling people, how come you haven't done hypnotherapy? Like it'll help you. Just hang with it. Believe it's going to help you. And it works. It just does. It's amazing. But I know a lot of us wait to the last minute or leave it the last modality. With that, you're working on your mind, body, and spirit. What exactly is that? We hear that term thrown around a lot. We're going to dig deeper into that with an amazing hypnotherapist. She has a new book out too. We'll get into that. She is Ruth Smith, and she joins us on the program. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. Happy to be here.
Yeah, great to have you back here. Why don't we dig into mind, body, and spirit? Can you define all of those and why it's so important to not just work on one, but make sure that all of them are in sync?
Yeah. Well, this is my concept. So, I leave it up to others to determine how they want to kind of bring the three together. But for me, the mind, as you know, we've been talking about the subconscious mind. So we need to identify kind of the differences between the conscious and the subconscious minds. The body is kind of the physiological, matter of our substance, right? Lots of systems, lots of tissues, lots of coordination between tissues.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have the spirit, and that one probably is the most controversial. I think of the spirit as kind of our true essence, what is unchanging in us, what is at our core, what is in our heart. You might call it the soul. It has virtues, qualities like love and forgiveness and compassion. And yeah, it's part of that. I think it's part of us that lives on, if you believe in life after our experience here on Earth. So I think, does that get us started?
It really does. And let's put the spiritual side over here for a moment because I'd love to put the microscope on that. And just what you said, the last thing you said there, how the spirit lives on. I want to address that in a moment. But the mind body connection, the more I study this stuff and the more I experience it, you got to work on your mind. You've got a lot of limiting beliefs, a lot of things, a lot of things blocking garbage up there, things flying around in your subconscious mostly. But all the stuff that goes on up here translates to your body down to the cellular level, like the stuff you deal with, the stress you deal with, the challenges. Even though you might not notice it, it affects your body, but very deeply. And I don't think we realize that. Like many of us walking around with chronic pain, disease, lots of physical issues, and there's a really good chance that that is coming from what your mind is dealing with. It's just translating to those physical issues. And okay, yes, so there's some stuff is genetic there, but even that, it may amplify those issues even more. That
Yes,
make sense?
absolutely. There's research more and more now showing that chronic stress, like worrying and frustration and anger, those kinds of, you might call them irritants, right? Keep the
Mm,
body
mm,
in kind of an elevated state,
mm.
and it literally starts to burn out tissues. So the body does an amazing job trying to compensate and do the best it can with the material and the resources that it has.
Yep.
But if we continue to kind of put it under a state of stress, and lots of times it's unknowingly, right? It's not stress like fighting for your life kind of stress. It's just daily lifestyle stress that we basically interpret, right? We perceive the circumstances as stressful, and our body responds to that
Uh,
stress.
100%. And isn't it true that the stress that we're talking about, we just get used to it? Like every day, it just becomes a way of life. And it's just like, It's like breathing and eating. You're doing it. You're just dealing with stress. I'm not saying that that stress is all within your world. You may be creating that stress in your mind.
Yeah, I think it's yeah, it's always a kind of a perception of the
Yeah.
situation around you. And absolutely, we're creating it. You know, when there is a real form of threat, like an animal coming at you or a car coming at you, then absolutely, you know, our body should kick it up and
Yeah.
be ready to respond.
That's
But
a
when
different.
the
We put that in a different category.
yes,
You know.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. But when, you know, the traffic bothers you, when your boss at work bothers you, when your spouse bothers you, and it's just kind of a constant, everyday kind of occurrence, yeah, that stress kind of becomes a lifestyle, like you say, and it's hard to identify it as as a stressful source.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? You said before we it's our perception. So let's do the traffic. You're driving, you're making a turn, somebody cuts you off, you yeah, you flip out. Like man, you're like what they already drove away, but now you're still elevated. You smack like what are
Mm-hmm.
you doing? Drive. But then you don't think about it. Maybe there was a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they just got a phone call and tragic news. Maybe they're working 4 jobs and they're tired. Yeah, I get it. They shouldn't be driving, but maybe there's something going on with them that we don't realize. And we're just putting out negative energy. So now that negative energy is just thrown out there, it's turned your day into that same thing when you wake up, something, like the toilet overflows, whatever. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
here we go. What a day this is going to be. It's already off to
Mm-hmm.
a crummy start. What kind of day are you going
Mm-hmm.
to have? I mean, that's what your
Yeah.
day's going to be
Well,
like.
take that attitude to when you want to recover from a stroke or a heart attack or an amputation or even a sprained ankle. How does that kind of perception and belief system
Sure.
interfere, right, with the healing? Because that again, that's additional stress, and the body has enough stress trying to heal up
Yeah.
from the injury.
Isn't the body amazing? The mind, all of it, that it can heal itself. It can totally heal itself. It's you have the power. And I learned this a long time ago, and I didn't believe it. And it was a while after I didn't believe it. Quick story of the power of healing. So I go to get some boogie boards out of the ceiling in my garage. Pull downstairs. I'm up there. It's July 4th. Gonna hit the beach. Great. Fell down the stairs. Right down. Fortunately, I didn't get hurt really bad. Got some road rash riding the stairs down, and my
Mm-hmm.
foot impacted on the cement. Didn't break anything, but the impact created a wart, like just an uncomfortable. I've never had a wart in my life. Went to the podiatrist. He said, "Yeah, the impact did that. Okay, does some stuff." A couple of days later, a week later, it's not going away. I go back again. Doc, what's going on? It's just it's still here. He does some things, doesn't go away. Go back the third time. And he says, "Yeah, what you really need to do is you need to will it to go away." I'm like, "Will it to go away?" He goes, "Yeah, just focus on it and you want it to go away. Send that signal." And I'm thinking to myself, I'm paying this guy. It's like, what
Right,
the heck is going on
right,
here? But I did it. Can't make this up. 2 days later, it went away. It
yeah,
went away. And that's
yeah,
after all of the, take the duct tape and try to rip it off and all, all that stuff that they tell you. That's what I did. And it went away. And I've done that over the years. And that was, probably 12 plus years ago. Over the years, the same kind of thing. When something crops up, I just, think positive about it instead of marinating of negativity. Oh, look what just happened.
right,
And
right,
it just goes away. Like, I
right,
don't know.
right.
I think, this is, we don't give this enough credit.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I think I give a lot of credit to that podiatrist because I think there needs to be more of that. In fact, that's kind of why I wrote the book that I have written, so that we can become more comfortable as healthcare professionals to just talk about mind, body, and spirit,
Hmm.
and give give people the tools, right, to draw that connection and to allow the self-healing to occur. Not just the body itself physiologically knows how to heal, but yeah, we got to get the mind on board so that it doesn't interfere in that process.
Well, it goes back to the mind,
Yeah.
specifically the subconscious. And we've talked about that before, how 90 something percent, and just that seems to be the number in all the research and everything of your daily activities. It's all your subconscious that's going on there. So that's what hypnotherapy does. It removes those blocks. It's almost like you hand us the keys to our mind so we can go in there, and it's almost like, cleaning house. Like, let me just move some things. Don't need that anymore. Let me get rid of that. Let me
Hmm.
donate that. Um, that's really essentially what hypnotherapy does. It's not like mind control or any of that kind of stuff.
Right. Yeah, right. And as we live, if we're not aware of kind of how the culture and, close friends and family can kind of put these thoughts in our mind that aren't so helpful, right? That kind of become blocks, like you mentioned, then we have to deliberately, set aside some time to turn that around. We don't necessarily think it as removing the block, but just reshaping it, maybe modifying it so that it has really the truth.
Mm.
Instead of working a falsehood in your head, you need to bring it back around to the truth, which is, uh, you know, in every way to your best interest.
I want to get to the book in a moment, but we put spiritual over here, and now let's bring it over here and talk about it. Um, how do you define spiritualism, spiritual, all of that?
Well, I'm going to keep it simple because I don't want to get into the kind of the competitiveness, I guess I would say, between kind of the religious um, folks and institutions and dogma. So let's bringing it back down to just the level of your inner self, your soul, the part of you that doesn't change, that's not influenced by the weather or the relationship. It's just constant, and it's a constant, abundant resource that makes really your healing potential unlimited. And that's why I call it my book Without Boundaries, because really it's the spirit. We can get the mind aligned with the body, and that's absolutely part of the process. But the spirit really has, you know, unlimited potential. So we tap into that, and who knows where healing can go.
I know a lot of people connect spiritual with religion, and if that supports you, that's fine. I look at it this way. It's just something where you connect with yourself, or it can be something greater than you that you align with, like the universe. Hey, I'll be honest with you. I used to, be not very religious, more. I go to church occasionally. Um, I believe there's a universe out here that supports us. Then, I have friend Trish, and she's deep into religion. She goes, "Well, who do you think created the universe?" And, you can debate and all that, but it's just something that, just kind of pilots you,
Mhm.
whatever it is. But I believe, it's got to be something that's greater than you, whatever that is, Um, but when you get in touch with yourself through meditation or whatever you're doing, wouldn't you say it's a game changer?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's amazing how you can live a lot of years and just kind of be bouncing around, within our culture, saying, behaving in the right way, right? To get by, to make money, to have a family, to do kind of the dream, right? But all that time you can be just so um unaware, right, of what's going on the inside.
Yeah.
And part again, this book really asks you to, okay, let's slow down and just pay attention, just like you did with your heel, right? You just paid attention instead of putting the band-aid on and doing all the kind of external, right, work. You did the internal work. And that's really what I am encouraging folks with any physical condition or injury is, yeah, let's bring that mind part and the spirit part and let it cooperate with the body.
That's very powerful what you said, the internal work. That's the stuff we don't think of. We may uh, change our hair, get different clothes, all of the different things like that. But unless you do the internal work, stuff's not going to really make that much of a difference. Yeah, you feel a little bit better about yourself. Somebody might perceive you, but there's also a certain amount of energy, I think, that is transmitted from all of us. And sometimes that can be negative energy, and you might not even realize it. But once you've kind of went inside, did that internal work, uh, you're just kind of projecting more positivity. And guess what? Then it comes back to you.
Absolutely. Yeah, I
Yeah.
believe that too.
What inspired you to write this book?
Well, it was the same reason why I, kind of shifted gears a bit and added hypnotherapy to my physical therapy practice is just the realization that people want more than just mediocre results when they heal.
Mm,
They want to return right to their work or their sport or their performance in whatever way that is. And some people tend to do it more naturally as far as kind of bringing the mind, knowing that the mind matters than others. And so, as a physical therapist, I just wanted there to be a tool for all people that you could get online or pull off the shelf
mm.
that could supplement the traditional physical therapy treatments. So that's what this book is written. The book is written for not the physical therapist or the healthcare professional, but the person who is, wanting to get best results, not just mediocre results, but best results from, their accident or injury or particular situation.
Did you find that in your years of doing physical therapy that you could do an amazing job on somebody and maybe they, have a decent mindset? Yeah, I want to feel better. But then it only went so far. It only went so far.
Oh
And
yeah,
right?
absolutely, absolutely. And I didn't have until now. I didn't have any tools to really. Okay,
Right.
let's try to switch it up a bit so that you can really get the results that you want and the results that you deserve. So yeah, absolutely. There were just, again, some people tended to have that attitude that just made things happen, and
Mm.
then some people did not. So
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. It's I have to imagine that so many of us we don't make that connection. The connection between this. You could even have somebody that got an injury, right? You do physical therapy on them, multiple sessions. They get a little bit better, but they're not fully healed from it. And true or false, in their mind, they could have something that says, well, you don't deserve to feel better. You don't deserve to heal.
Absolutely. Yeah, a big part of the book in kind of the first kind of introductory part is yeah, evaluating the beliefs you have about your right to get better,
Mm,
your ability to get better, right? And trying to figure, is there something going on in your mind? You mentioned self-limiting beliefs. Absolutely. Most of the time they're deeper and you're not aware of them. So, yeah, the book is encouraging you to, let's take a look. Let's get these corrected. Let's get to the truth of the matter, right? So that this belief system is no longer inhibiting, right, the healing process.
Can the book help us search a little bit and realize what might be holding us back? Something from our past.
Yes. Now, this is again a self-hypnosis book. So it's asking the reader to do a dive, right? A personal dive, a personal discovery. Sometimes those discoveries, though, when you're looking at something in the past that might be, inhibiting the progress, sometimes that's best facilitated with some support with a hypnotherapist in the room, right? Or online there. So in the book, I do suggest that if it feels like, or you're aware of some traumatic event in your past that might be, right, a kind of the burr, right, that's causing the rub in your healing process, then seeking out, a mental health professional or hypnotherapist that can deal with kind of that traumatic experience would be very highly recommended.
Now, I'm not the professional here, but I'm going to state that if you had some things go on in your life, parents got divorced, the passing of a relative, um, and just not a car, could be a car accident though, could be anything that you in your mind say, "Whoa, yeah, I remember I was like 7, and that was pretty big." I pretty much guarantee you have things floating out there that are holding you back from that event or many of them. I figured them out, and I guarantee in me, and I'm just as an example, there's other things there that I haven't dealt with that, passing of my dad when I was 21.
Right.
I guarantee if you and I got together, and it's been a while since I did hypnotherapy, there would be something there. There'd be something there.
Yeah. Yeah. And lots of times, some of those impressions that we get that we hold on to over time happen, in times of our life where we're really impressionable. So even going 21, as an adult, but think of all the impressions that we had when we were young and we didn't have the cognitive ability, right, to sift through and make sense of the world and make sense of that divorce or make sense
Sure.
of that tragic
Yeah.
accident. Yeah,
So
absolutely.
true. Tell us the title of the book and where we can get it.
Okay, so the title is called Without Boundaries: Optimizing Physical Recovery with Self-Hypnosis. And it's a mind, body, spirit approach. So it will be published and ready on the first of the year, 2025.
Gotcha. Yeah, I wasn't sure it was out yet, but thank you for sharing that. Mark your calendar. And I know that's a phrase that everybody says. I'm starting to do it more for even stuff that's months away. Mark your calendar because it's so impactful. And you know what? This could be the gateway to hypnotherapy. For many who have this aversion, like, I don't know if I want to do that, start with the book and learn what's going on, how your mind works, what may be holding you back, and then maybe engage in hypnotherapy as your next step. But the first step definitely would be the book, even just to nail all of this connection, the mind, the body, and the spirit. Not a lot of books like that out there, got to tell you.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm looking. I think this is I don't know of any other book out there that, again, written by a physical therapist that's saying, hey, let's look at physical recovery differently. Let's look at it as a whole person, not just a physical body.
And that's what makes you different in your arsenal to help people. Decades of physical therapy and that experience, physiology, and then you pair it with hypnotherapy and powerful combination. Yeah, there's a lot of hypnotherapists out there that don't have that, but when you add that, you have a greater understanding of what's going on within us. And by the way, you also do hypnotherapy virtually, so you can do it for anybody anywhere, right?
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
How do we find you?
Go online to Ruth Smith, hypnotherapy.com. Ruth Smith, hypnotherapy.com. You can contact me through the website.
Awesome. Great talking with you here today. Learned a lot. Backed up things I think of. But I wonder how others feel about that, especially qualified people. And I appreciate it, Ruth. Thank you for being here. It's been great talking with you.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
Mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.